question a little bit, maybe challenge you to go a little deeper. If there's a piece of advice for younger professionals who want to lead some operational transformation.
I mean, I would say develop your vision and mission of who you are as a leader. You're going to be challenged. I mean, a lot of different times in life. You're going to get punched in the gut where you're going to drop to your knees and wonder what the hell happened. It can happen at any time. But the vision and mission of who you are as a person is what's going to get you through there, you know.
Hello and welcome to the Systems Edge. I'm your host, David Stowers, and today we're having one of those deep dive conversations into operations that oftentimes are never heard outside the office or boardrooms. And today we're joined by Alan Carn. Alan is a plant manager with a company that sells and supports large-scale machinery for the scrap metal industry. Thanks, Alan, for joining us today.
Thank you, and welcome to participate in this discussion. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being here, taking time out of your schedule. To start off, can you just tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your current role? Maybe not the LinkedIn version, maybe just kind of a conversational tone about yourself and your role as plant manager.
Well, I have had numerous experiences in different industries, electronics, automotive mainly, some solar, and right now I'm in the recycling business. So I got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I do have experience with turnarounds and improving efficiency. I kind of have a CI background. So, like I said, I've seen a wide variety of issues and opportunities. And I think what we'll get to is data integrity is probably first and foremost, which is the discussion point of why we're here, right?
Right. Yeah. Operational excellence and those blind spots a lot of companies miss, and it costs them so much money. So you hold a master's degree in operations, actually, I saw. Is that correct?
Yes.
And management, supervision, and also a PhD. What drew you to first to operations and supervision at that level?
I really do enjoy people, being around people, talking to people, being able to help people. My PhDs and it has a base concept of servant leadership. So I'm happy about doing that. That makes me happy, is teaching people. But as you can see with the operations side of thing, is it also tied in to, let's be honest, I was had a tuition reimbursement with an automotive company, so I had to pick something that I liked that was aligned with what they would pay for. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But the PhD side of things, I've talked to numerous people. They think I'm weird for even doing it, but it was one of those mountains that I must climb. It ties into teaching, and I look at that as an opportunity to enjoy a retirement and have something fun to do as a hobby. And again, I do think academia in total is not serving the students or its customers well right now. So, and I hope from an operational side of things, an operational perspective, to kind of enlighten people, to kind of give them a little bit of realism instead of all the academic theory that they're pushing, so to speak. It'll be nice to say it that way.
Yep. No, that makes sense. When you were doing your doctoral studies, is there some particular insight or project that changed how you view processes or organizational systems or your decision making?
It was more theoretical and meta theory in terms of leadership and sustainable leadership, and it's really looking at the concept of morality and how is it deployed in a business environment. And the irony to the thing is, what the total summation is, like anything, it's a tool. Ironically, it's how you use the tool that determines the evil or goodness of that outcome. So, I mean, it's like you get to the end of the story and you find out, it really depends on the individual wielding the weapon or the tool or weapon that will shape the outcome of future. Because systems out there are just tools, and have you
Yes.
seen them
Yeah.
like quote unquote weaponize something? That leads back to what I'm discussing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. No, that makes total sense. It's true in so many areas of life in general, right? It's
Correct.
a lot of applications there. So, in your role today, what are some of the operational systems and processes you oversee? Maybe especially the ones that, if they altered, would could impact performance.
Well, in my current role, it's really manually driven. So, however, if there is um, I would say, database Sage, or it's a Sage system that they deploy here, and I mean, if that failed, that would be very critical, but really it's manually driven. And however, there is some user or worker interface where they're scanning in work tickets and different things like that. So there is some traceability, which ironically, despite how manual it is, it has better work, or I would say traceability for quality sense than some of the automotive companies I dealt with. So, you know,
Interesting. Interesting.
it's weird how they do it. It's just unique. They scan on a different work ticket and they let them know who's doing the work, how many hours. So I mean, that's an improvement over some areas I've been in.
Right. Right. What metrics or indicators do you use most or monitor? And really, kind of
Really,
how often do you review them too?
well, right now we review them daily, but really, but the thing is it's back to the data integrity things. And when we're starting to extract data and trying to look at real establishing KPIs, it's muddled between engineering changes, people swiping in on the wrong work ticket. You have these weird swings in data. That's
Yes.
where I get the back for here, data integrity is so integral. But what we try to do is we're really looking at schedule and schedule attainment. You have your safety, your quality metrics. We're starting to launch out supplier development and again, avoiding the things that can slow us down. And, we're deploying the theory of constraints. We know where a constraint is in our operation. So those are the little things we're looking at and really just downtime and looking at the what we are now collecting correctly in the Sage system in terms of hours, we can see we're starting to see constraints and failures, and it's starting to point at one area.
What would you say is your biggest time sink for you and your team right now? Task processes that take a lot of hours but have that minimal return.
Well, it's going to be the work ticket system. I
Mm,
mean, it's
okay.
very cumbersome. It requires a lot of bodies to maintain, generate work tickets. Really, there's two managers and two other employees in a small facility that are driving this and maintaining it.
Yeah. I often will ask, if you could fix one thing in the next 12 months, what would it be? It sounds like for you, that's what it would be. It'd be,
Well,
figuring out a solution.
the thing is, I mean, it's Sage is, I think, is more of an accounting or logistics type software that's been morphed into production, and it has a lot of good things. But and the thing is not to be a Debbie Downer, but I may apologize for that.
No worries.
But it just requires a lot of maintenance and a lot of double entries or multiple entries to get the data out of it and get it to kind of talk. Because some instances that labor hours transfer down to a what to call a parent part number, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yep. Yep. No, we're used to that. We deal with a lot of manufacturers as a software development company, and I would say it's the number one thing we do is try to build reports that can't be found inside of the inside the ERP system. At the end of the day, yeah, getting those siloed information to talk to each other. Um, this next question, I think you probably do pretty good with. It sounds like there's a lot of talk around the industry 4.0, smart manufacturing. From your vantage point, what would you say is the real gap between what companies say they'll pursue and what you're seeing actually implemented or not?
to me, when I look at 4.0, it still comes down to data. Um, it's also there's some change management aspects and the people side of things that tie into that I don't think I think they're being Maging, 4.0 is just a checkbox. I got this, I got this, I got this, I got
Right.
this.
Right.
But, for instance, we're back to especially when they're deploying it in older manufacturing systems, where, it would be nice if, for instance, let's say a maintenance tech, we know he's assigned to this area. You can actually see that he's in this area. When he has a downtime event, it automatically calls him and he can start recording it instead of putting it into a manual system and all this other stuff. I've seen that in automotive. And all of a sudden, by the time that data or that information funnels up, it's just a
Hmm.
question mark of whether or not it's useful or not. And it goes back to that efficiencies and some of the other thing that is supposed to be coming out of the production system. That
Hmm.
usually cycle time is pretty good because usually they're taking a robot bit from or some type of logic event to a certain logic event to determine the cycle time. But the human interface to that portion is often, I would say, an afterthought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how they play it, and really because there's opportunities from an HR or management standpoint when they're scanning in, they scan into their work center as a part of the even it's starting the process up as a way to hit before they hit the go button, so we know who we're talking to.
Yeah.
And there's some AI opportunities in which they can intuitively work in some, like I said, back to that maintenance story is you can anticipate things that it could help the maintenance tech put in data. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Some
Yes.
easy pick lists, drop down lists, some things that they normally deal with. And because their time is valuable, they'll first thing they'll complain about is you're wasting my time doing all this data entry. And what you want me to fix stuff, but no, there's at time is so we can prevent it from the future is why you need to put it down there. But
Right.
we will
Right.
try to improve the process and the efficiency of putting it in there. So,
Yeah, it's a never ending task, and it's the reason for this show, actually. So, can you walk us through a time when you kind of discovered maybe a hidden dependency or operational blind spot, something maybe you didn't know was broken until something went awry? Anything
oh,
come to mind?
phew, that's a good question.
There was 100 of them that just popped into your mind, right?
Yeah, yeah. Which one do I want to bring
Yeah,
up?
really.
Um, I guess. Oh yeah, here you go. This will tie into it. This is kind of similar to the maintenance side of things, and we were looking at cycle times and machine cycle times and operator cycle times, and you're especially this is in more back to the automotive where we're using robots and all this other stuff, and we had small cellular manufacturing events. Make two or three components being welded together by a robot. You load in, load out, sort of things like that, and you're wondering why. Wait a second, you're trying to improve the operator efficiency. And the first thing you go after is always, that's got to be that doggone operator. It's like they're slowing down, dot, 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 dot. And then you're looking at the data. Yeah, they could do better, but it's not really the issue. But what's problem is typically it's two or three steps in front of it. You look at the maintenance tech, and the maintenance techs, what they're doing is adding weaves and some other weird things to the robot. Well, now the robot's cycling along. Well, and then another another then it becomes, hey, you got control of your press parts. Why aren't you making your press parts better and spend the time up there? Because it all circles back to tool and die as the heartbeat of some of these manufacturing processes. And we were blind to it for so long that we're similar. You're trying to hammer this home. You got to make a point. We can find a way to get this done. And next thing you're asking a whole bunch of questions. And next thing you're thinking, people are trying to do the right things to improve quality, but at the expense of cycle time. But
Mm-hmm.
really, the issue was really you had to go upstream even beyond that of why were they doing what they're doing? Why was the habit formed to slow down the robot? You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. How do you prioritize which systems or processes need fixing first?
I just I try to look at the when you walk through the door, safety, quality, then they fall into the production side of things. And then, safety will give you a good indicator of plant morale, plant systems overall, and how the people are integrating with the machines. Quality is obviously the output of it and how good it is, making it right the first time. Again, you're tying back to maintenance and people again. And then, the production system really comes down to, uh, I'll say this as a CI coordinator too. The production systems is kind of is dependent upon really the engineered design of the system. I keep using my hands and I apologize,
That's
but
fine.
the design of the system, and I say that because there's design limitations at some time. And when I was being a CI guy, CI coordinator, come to find out, they designed a turd and they're asking operations and the CI guy to go in there and polish it up. So at the end is all you're going to get is a really shiny turd.
I mean, the polished one, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you can't undo some things. So
yeah,
without money,
absolutely.
anyways.
Yes, absolutely. Now, in software, we call that spaghetti code. If somebody built it, we want it to look like a waffle, and they build it like spaghetti. So, and then you're kind of forced to work with it, right? Especially even like you coming into a new job or a job, and you're like, oh, you're forced to work with what you inherited, right?
Yeah, and
So you kind
y-
of have to play the cards you're handed. So,
to your
uh,
to your point though, it comes down to information. I mean, when you step into a new role, it's usually you're trying to find the informational flow for, like I said, for the safety, quality, production, in both formal and informal, talking to people and understanding the nuances behind the the
yes.
scene, so to speak.
Yes, yes, yes. No, absolutely. For a business that's scaling, maybe they're, going, I don't know, 10 to 100 employees. What's a system or process priority you think you might advise them early down to lock down so it doesn't lead to chaos?
Well, I'm assuming that if they're going to 10 to 100, I'm going to say that there's going to be engineering involved in this at some degree, and it's really going to tie to how well change management is really, I guess, when we step back, we're talking really about change management. And then when
Yes.
you look at real change management, you're looking at IT operations people, and you're looking at the whole concept or the whole picture, I should say. But as if I was to say dial into the smaller facility is what does the engineered capacity that you have in your hands, you got your people here. How do they apply to that? And then work making sure quality is baked into this, because
Mm,
you're going to all this change is going to have some quality issues. You want to be able to make it right the first time, the fastest, ensure that you get back to your, I would say, your efficiency to support the extra headcount.
mm. It's really well put. It's really good. I knew there'd be, I said early on, right? There's always nuggets. That's a nugget right there. So
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
that's
whoa.
good. We got one for sure, right?
Yahoo!
Yeah, there's, everything, it's everybody different. There's probably a whole bunch of stuff you've already said too. So, but looking
Okay.
ahead 5 or 10 years, what do you think are going to be some of the biggest operational system challenges for, people like you and
Ooh,
manufacturing and operational
labor.
leaders? It could be, yeah, I was going to say it could be workforce, could be supply chain, AI, sustainability, and maybe all the above, right? But you probably have your, the one that stands out to you the most.
Right now, it's labor. Getting the skilled talent in, because even now for us, it's welders. Automotive in the last, especially a couple jobs ago, is tool and die. Getting the skilled trades because they're huge. I know they're saying right now that hey, they're trying to get kids, students, young people looking at the skilled trades. Well, that's a 3, 4, 5 year gap to get some of the quality of talent that we really need, and I think they're late to the ball game. I mean, I can remember, talking low tech and maintenance or tool and dry, they can easily make six figures, but nobody was brought letting them know about it. But that requires real skill. So to me, skilled labor or skilled trades, regardless of AI, still needed because I still need fabricators out there on that on our production floor that
Yes.
not only know how to weld, but they're good. They know how to get this thing assembled, get the structures, supports built into place. I mean, yeah, we have a sheet that's roughly, a metal that's 20 foot long, 8 foot wide. You think steel, it's nice and flat. No, it's got some waviness to it. It's got some because depending how you store it, how whatever, the heat that you're applying to it, it can get a wave to it. So those fabricators, those real fabricators, artisans almost, they're still going to be needed. They're going to have to do some of this adaptive thinking for the AI system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
uh,
It's the input at the end of the day. It's like everybody says, it's one thing to use AI. It's another thing to be able to give it what it needs to help you do the job. So you've got to give it the right input for sure. So are you
because
guys taking any proactive steps around that idea for the future?
not at this time. I mean, again, we're still trying to work through some of the, I would call, grunt level IT stuff and understanding what Sage, actually cleaning up our current operator issues in input and data. So, I mean, there's a lot of that low hanging fruit there. So we've got a lot of messes clean up before we introduce a little something, a little next level complex out the net floor.
Yes, 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 yes.
We've got to
Understood.
get the habits of good data input
Yeah. Build a
before.
culture around that almost.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's
And
something
and
I really
and
would.
you know this because you're in leadership and have been for most of your career. Like it's adoption is so challenging 'cause people are just so used to doing something a certain way and they don't want to change, right? It's just it's
Yeah,
easy
yeah.
feels easier to them. Like, oh man, I got to learn to enter it on this. So you have to almost sell it to a degree. It seems like, at least that's my experience.
And the thing is, if you look at the side of it is like, "Hey, guys, we know you're doing a good job. Please give us the data so we can validate what you're doing." On the
Mm,
flip side of it, and, you got these people that like to point fingers another direction, but you go, "Hey, regardless, what we're doing is gonna create a system that based on metrics. And if you want to change a habit or something, you got to measure it and then
yes.
plot it and then understand, do root cause analysis to see why it's not performing the way you designed it to be. And
Yes.
getting them to buy into that part of it because we can make their lives easier. We just need the right data to do it. We're not chasing their tails off down the other production end of the production line when it's got noise because it's being generated upline. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
working through their problems.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Is there one operational principle, maybe something you've learned that still holds true, will hold true, no matter how much technology changes?
Yes.
Probably preach a whole sermon on that. I bet.
Well, the thing, but it really kind of ties back to what I just said. I mean, they're going to be people are still going to be needed. However, their shape or the what they do is going to change and how they have to work with it. I mean, it's like was it a famous general in the Civil War said that if you're not advancing, you're retreating. And if you're retreating, you better be retreat to regroup so you can attack again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but that's individuals or that's people. That's where we as people should take that life principle and work. Are you working towards something? Are you working to a goal? If you're not and you're just staying, stagnant, chances are you're getting falling behind, especially if you're looking for, a career field. You better be attacking versus, sitting there waiting for it to happen. Because I can see how, we talk about or I've been looking at cobots and whatnot in a robotic, collaborative AI environment. I see becoming more and more. You can't be afraid of it. I think you will have to embrace it. And how I can see AI being an assistant to the person out there on the shop floor. Now, granted, it's gonna require them to instead of be a load and go, pull the, grunt and pull the trigger type of operator, you're going to have to advance your skill sets a little bit about maintenance, knowing how to, work with modern technology. Maybe some of the community colleges can help us in that as well.
Mm, hmm. Yeah. So you kind of alluded to my next question a little bit. Maybe challenge you to go a little deeper. If there's a piece of advice for younger professionals who want to, you know, lead some operational transformation, what would that be?
I mean, I would say develop your vision and mission of who you are as as a leader. Meaning you're going to be challenged. I mean, a lot of different times in life, you're going to get punched in the gut where you're going to drop to your knees and wondering what the hell happened. It can happen at any time, but the vision and mission of who you are as a person is what's going to get you through there. Your faith in a higher being. I'm religious, so I mean, that's helped as well. Your faith in family and friends. Don't lose those when you're going up the ladder because too many people like,
Yep.
I made
Yep.
some sacrifices, probably not the best in my life.
Mhm.
Um,
No one's
but
perfect, right? Yeah.
yeah, no one's perfect, but I've learned that, you keep true to who you are, but at the same time, have the humbleness to understand that you're not going to be perfect and every there's so many opportunities to improve and learn from mistakes. You got to take that time to look.
Yeah. Yeah. I know some of my biggest mistakes. I had to reframe it as an expensive education, and what would that have cost me had I not learned it? Maybe later on would have been cost me even more. So yeah, whatever that is and whatever it hits you. So life is just all about learning all the time. So, what's something maybe outside of work, a book, a habit, an experience that shaped how you think about systems and leadership?
Well, I would have to say the good about my educational journey is that it brought me to light different concepts and theories. Um, but that goes back to reading and working to
Mm,
develop yourself
hmm.
as a person. Um, I mean, I would not stop reading and stop looking, you know, obviously podcasts. Hey, here we go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
an opportunity to get some quick learning in and some understanding of the world around you. I would eventually say that's probably the outside thing, and also develop relationships, uh, networking. However you want to say it, critical, very critical. I mean, and helping. Maybe you find a mentor that's able to shape your life in a different way that takes you through a different path, or somebody that just nudges you just a little bit in the right direction to keep you on course.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I second that one. That's for sure. Probably one of my biggest assets is just all the people I know and the connections. Um, so if you could go back and redesign a system, maybe a process or piece of it, some structure early on in your career, what would that be and why?
I'm so recency r recency bias, but, um, right here, if I was to say, it is the it's going to have to be the HMI and operator interface. To me, if I had to do that and look at that different areas, even back from early 2000s and getting the detail, getting it correct, having alarm banner codes tell you help the maintenance truck, help in the root cause, help the operator understand their cycle time. Um, I forget the lights, but the yellow, red, green lights to know that it's blinking, helping them understand, hey, there's that those little things mean a lot.
Yes.
So if I had it would be how can I improve to help that operator or maintenance tech or quality person to be more efficient using data the first time.
Yes. I'm in a lot of operations and I've seen one company in particular that has absolutely nailed that, but it wasn't without a lot of effort. a lot of expense, a lot of time, but it has made them probably the most efficient manufacturer you will ever go into. And they people tour it just to see how they've been able to do exactly what you said. So I tell you, I couldn't agree more. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. So not
So
always
you
the
know,
easiest
yeah,
thing to backtrack on, though, unfortunately. So,
'cause
um,
to your point earlier in the discussion, it's that you're adopting and inherited these older systems. It's I know there's still systems that are Windows 98 operating system.
yep, yep, yep,
Your supply chain excuse me. Your
yep.
supply chain is stretched when you stop worrying about the OEM and you're questioning whether eBay has it.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
So
It's so true. I see that all the time. See people say, "Well, where's your server?" I don't know. It's somewhere in the building. It's probably about 30 years old, and it's sitting in a closet. We just hit the reset button when when stuff goes down, and it seems to keep working. You're like, "Oh my goodness, wow!" The risk that they're taking, right, for
yeah.
something so simple. Yeah, and I think too overall, um, is it people are missing so many opportunities. If they would take into consideration all the wisdom you've given us today here, and just take time to take a step back and think through some of these. Even just find a pain point. Just find one and find the one that's the. See, I just see it all the time. Man, the money that could be made, the ROI is quick on some of those.
Yeah,
So
those
finally, what's that?
I was gonna say you're 1,000% right. That's the low hanging fruit. Just walking
It's
out there
low
and
hanging. It's low hanging. When we come in to talk to a company, we try to get them an ROI within 6 months. Like, and we find it all the time. So and a lot of it's like what you suggested here, right? So many manual things going on. But let me close with this last question here. Finally, um, wind this thing down. If I had you back on in 5 years on this show, what would you hope we'd be talking about in terms of progress that you and your team have made?
no,
No,
and I would be very curious. Two things, the discussion points. How we'll have AI integration at some point. How well AI is being embraced or not embraced. And then also back to my other point, the skilled trades, how well they have been developed in the last because they I know they started a few years back and everybody, but I'm not seeing it yet. Because if,
yes,
for instance, I was talking to um, a fellow business partner down the road, and he does a lot of general contracting for large construction, and they tried to offer him this contract to do something up the road in Savannah, and he denied it because he knew he couldn't get 1,000 plus iron workers that the job needed. So, but you trickle that down to other unique trades and skill trade groups.
yes,
It's just
yes,
not out there. So I'm
yes.
curious about the workforce. I'm curious about AI. Those would be I think, the two discussion points for the future.
Yeah, yeah, labor shortage for sure. We feel it. I live next door to a COO of a manufacturer, and I think she's looked for a year and a half for a certain kind of engineer. She says, "I'll pay him 100 grand out of college, but I need this kind of engineer." Can't
Yeah.
get them. Like you're like, wow. So you're so right. I think that's I never actually have even posed that question to anybody before, but that is I couldn't agree more with you. Between AI and the workforce, that's are going to be, in my opinion, too. I'll back that up 100% too. Agree. But
Because I mean, the best thing that we got going right now in terms of getting the right fit at the right cost, because if I was to spend, let's say, $200,000 for the engineer, I would struggle to get them to come in and do what we need either as an ME or as an electrical because we've got a niche type of process.
right,
So, I mean, you're almost in this instance taking somebody fresh out of college and has the skill, aptitude, desire
yes,
with it, critical things
yes, yes, yes,
to
absolutely,
and develop that person and work with them through the years. And then that's right now unfortunately, the best possible scenario right now.
absolutely, absolutely. The louder that need is expressed, I guess, in the marketplace, that someone will hopefully come in and fill that gap. And like you said, we'll see maybe specialized trade schools that will get junior engineers, or maybe they'll lower the standard to get the guys
Some
trained up or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, never know. Well, this has been great today. Thank you so much. I
No problem.
truly appreciate it. Sharing your wisdom with us, and I know beyond a doubt there's some nuggets in there that will bless some people. And this has been absolutely fantastic. Thanks for being here today.
You're welcome. I was just chuckling at myself because I was thinking, yes, my wife that about that wisdom thing should just chuckle at you.
Right, right. Same. But that's because familiarity breeds contempt. But
But I thank
but
you. It was a pleasure.
whatever. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks again. Bye bye.
No problem.